One system for the chlorinator.
You have his number? You want his number?
That's what they tell me.
No, it's gonna go off, it's gonna go off. You can hear the recording.
Now, somebody can really get a punchy lighter. Not punchy lighter, fishing.
I heard that's how he's doing.
He's working for Google.
Hi, Ron.
Now he sets up the job.
Good, good. Nobody likes to sit in front.
Like church.
Good seats, good grades.
Okay, my contact is for my own.
Well, that's what I want to lay out, like, this is what's going on.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay.
Right. Yes. I don't think there's anything that's. I hope, I mean. So really, we got the water district stuff, and two local laws that were.
I've never seen it. Never seen it.
Whenever he says like, oh, there's nothing going
I
on.
didn't know whether you wanted maybe a different color jacket to post it, or who's it from?
Right, you might know why.
Our meetings are always on the phone.
Exactly.
Are you gonna answer this?
Good evening, everybody. We're gonna start here. We start with the pledge, please. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start off with a public comment period. Just raise your hand. Me,
It's not about.
Okay.
No, that's coming future, but not now. Just two quick questions. One of them is, from what my understanding is for Water District 2, one question I got is, funds generated through Water District 1 are not being used for Water District 2?
No.
Okay, I'd like to hear that.
And you know what? I think you'll be happy when we throw a budget together.
Okay, I'd like to see it, because there's a lot of finance, but that's irrelevant, we said another time, and it's not just for here. The other thing too
If
is.
you want to sit down, come to the office, I would like to talk to you about it.
Okay, the other thing too is, and I'm looking, is that you tell me to put, and Mr. Labarge, right? That's correct. This project is $5.5 million for the above section 2, right?
Yes.
District 2. And if the federal government is giving us $3-some million, correct?
Well, we're trying to get $3-some million.
Yeah, and then
There's an application process that's still.
yeah, I understand that. And then I'm just wondering, make sure, and I'm assuming you do, 100%, I would hope you would, is that Huckabee our governor just passed a bill for the water district, giving them up to 60% up to $5 million in areas with hospitals and schools that are being taken in as priorities.
We have applied everywhere. We are hoping for member items. We are doing everything we can to get every dime we can.
Well, if you
But
look,
honestly, if we don't get enough funding, we're probably not gonna go forward with it.
well, if you, and again, I'm not trying to tell them what you're doing or not, I'm just looking at if the federal government's giving you 3 point whatever, supposedly was the numbers I was told. And if they're paying 60% through the state, that's over 100% of what you're asking for.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yep, so are they,
Go ahead.
Our rep-
$3 million is the 60%.
$3 million is 60.
Yeah, but five,
Right, but that's federal, right?
that's, actually, then we have New York, that's state.
Well, the thing I read on the state is they'll give you up to 60%, up to $5
$5
million.
That's New York Water Program.
Yeah.
Which is what they're gonna start the environmental process tonight for.
Well, one thing that I know from talking to people that I know over in the Senate and stuff, they're saying that they encourage residents and people that are affected by that to start calling and pushing that with them, so you might want to tell them.
Anybody that wants to call, please.
Well, but I mean.
We've got letters from everybody we can get letters from. We've got letters from the schools, we've got letters from the legislature, we got letters from anybody we can reach out to.
I understand that, well, what you're telling me is they came to you, not to them. Are
We
you
went to
forwarding
them.
them to people in the legislature, New York State legislature? Because that's the ones that need to be,
He's saying the residents should call their.
right.
Well, they have a lobbying day, and that's the day that's interested to go.
Well, but
And there's a
I,
group of residents that got together, they're, what is it called? Concerned Citizens for Water. They're supposedly all going, so.
well, one of the things I was told is recommended to suggest is that the residents that are involved, including students that go to their families too, because they're affected too, not just the ones that are in the water line. But they start calling over there and talk to our representatives, push it along even more. It was strongly suggested that we do that, but anyways, we're done with that.
Would anyone else like to speak tonight?
You do?
All right, well, we have a comment period at the end of the meeting as well. We have two public hearings today. We have a public hearing on a junkyard license and a public hearing on local law number 2, which is, so we can change the date for grievance night for people who want to read their assessment. I'll open the public hearing at 5 minutes after 7. Would you like to comment? Well, I'll keep it open and then we'll move along in our regular meeting. We have our minutes of July 14th meeting. Has everybody got a chance to review them?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Do we have a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor? All opposed? Presentations tonight, we have Mr. Labarge, would like to speak to us a little bit.
Excuse me, not so much a presentation, we provided a resolution to the board to start the secret process required for the grant application that the gentleman was referring to earlier. And the application here is strictly to say that the town would like to be the lead agency for the review of the environmental portion of the project. And again, identifies the project as an unlisted action under secret. And authorizes the commencement of a coordinated review with other involved agencies. Here that would be DC, H, and DOT. So this resolution, that's all that says, this resolution I provided, just kind of gets that ball rolling. We're a little behind the 8 ball, so we're going to try to get everybody's responses, the agency coordination letters as soon as possible. So your next meeting in September, you can make a determination of significance or a negative declaration for the project. So anyway, that's all it is. I didn't know if the board had any other questions about it, how the process works.
Ben was talking earlier about some financing.
But as part of the program, and you'll have to do this at your next meeting, not tonight, obviously, there'll need to be a plan of finance resolution that goes with the application. Obviously, if they give you money, they want to know where you're going to get the rest. So we'll put that together with you. You'll also have to do the lead agency determination, as I mentioned with the earlier. You will need a resolution authorizing the supervisor to submit the application. And then we will need to have a resolution, containing engineering and legal services for the project to submit with the application. We all show readiness. You know, it is a PFOA related project, so, you know, should have a lot of plans anyway, but the more the better, because there are a lot of PFOA.
So the only thing we have to do is, the resolution for lead agency thing, there's nothing else we have to do tonight.
No, not tonight, no. We'll provide, probably within the next week, and we'll work with Andy, with these other resolutions.
Pete, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Ron, my concern, I'm delighted with everything you said you're doing. My concern is one of timing. Specifically, with the governor's announcement, there's 225 million available for grants. And when I read the details of it, there are two things that we fall right into account. If you have an MCL problem, which we do, or secondly, if it's expanding water projects, which we are. But this has to be, quote, grant applications and supporting must be submitted through the EFCs by 5 o'clock September 9th.
That's right, so.
Now, if
that's
we're not,
why-
I can't see it getting to the next meeting and still meet that requirement.
We're meeting the 8th.
They meet the 8th.
I'm sorry?
They meet the 8th, so
We're
it's a
meeting the
simple
8th. We have
matter
a
of
meeting
just
scheduled on
uploading
the
the
8th.
documents the following day. Trust me, we've wound up doing that many times before, just doing board meetings fall sometimes.
I guess what I'm saying, I was involved in some grant writing in my prior history, and many things can slip through the crack at last minute. And I'm saying if it's the 8th and something goes wrong, we're out of luck. Why don't we try to pull that, address this issue 2 weeks before that? Is there any reason
Well,
we can't do that?
there's a couple. One is under the secret process, technically the lead agent, the involved agencies have 30 days to respond. We're going to try to expedite that because of the project, and they're aware of it. And they're not gonna want to be the lead agency. So, but technically they have that 30 days, which is actually after the night. That's why we gotta try to get those responses. I don't want to make it too short, because we do need to give ourselves time to get those lead agency answers. The application will be written well before that date, and it's really just how you upload the document into the system these days. I mean, when everything was, years ago, everything went in paper and all that stuff, and there was all the coding, copying, and printing and stuff. Now everything's electronic, so we can actually write the application and then just fill in the blanks on Friday. I mean, we did talk about potentially having a meeting, like Tiffany over here mentioned, yeah, we could do it on the 7th, but then when I found out the meeting was on the 8th, got that Labor Day weekend in there. So, unless there's no meeting, that would be the only thing that could go wrong, I would say. We try to have the ducks in a row, obviously, ahead of time, just to make sure that the board had questions on any of it. To work through that.
As long as you're comfortable.
Right, I would add, if your office is successful in getting responses from the other involved agencies sooner than anticipated, there's nothing prohibiting Keith from calling a special meeting for that purpose.
Yeah,
It can be held sooner.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Exactly.
That's a game plan.
That'd be a good move.
Thanks, Ron.
You're more than welcome.
Our correspondence is charter, as usual.
You gotta act on that one resolution, right?
Yeah, if it's later than that.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Okay, so the only other thing I would say that I will need tomorrow, a copy of that resolution, as well as page 13 of the environmental assessment form signed, as found, which I brought with me if I wanted to do this, if you would provide.
Take yours.
And I just need a scanned copy of it, I don't need an original or anything. Just enough, and we'll send out the coordination letters tomorrow.
Okay,
So if you don't need anything else, or I'll,
we're all set, right, Andy? It's up to the board. If you guys want to meet sooner than the 8th,
No, I mean, like.
I'll just do the resolution.
Just do this
All right.
resolution now.
They'll get one less one
Just
person.
a- one, two,
Yeah.
All right, we have this resolution, I'll just read the last part of it. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Postonville hereby directs and coordinates the intent for a local lead agency with the involved agencies for the project through the services of notice of intent, indicating that the town of Postonville seeks to be designated as lead agency for this action. What's that?
I was looking at the wrong one.
They're like, wait a minute.
There's a few in here.
I don't even have one, so.
It's in.
It's in the back of the
The back
assessment.
of the, yeah.
It's after the environmental review.
And I'll just, if I can supplement the record real quick, the resolution actually would classify the project as a unlisted action. And Ron and I have gone through that and concur, it does qualify as an unlisted action. That is the intent of the town board to serve as lead agency for the environmental review. And that the town board directs that lead agency coordination be undertaken. So those are the three actions that would be in the resolution.
I'll entertain a motion.
Councilman Butler? Yes. Councilman Van Slyke?
Yes.
Supervisor Hammond?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for moving me up.
Well, Ron, if you could sign it right in the form where it says signature.
With resolution number 17.
And then put it in scan. Do you need an original or electronic?
I just need to know it's done. Electronic's fine.
And you scan and email that to her.
Perfect.
And she signs the center part.
Oh, the attestation that's there at the.
If you could, yeah. And I'll give this to you, if you could circulate it back to us.
So, oh, you'll be copied with everything. So, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening. Take care.
All right, that brings us to our liaison reports. First up is planning board. Is anyone here from the?
The busy meeting. We approved, we voted for approval of an SUP for a solar array for the town of Camp Park. 1188 Camp Road. A matter of Nancy Orsini and Gilbert Langley. They originally applied for an SUP for a retail venue on 278 to 82 Blue Road. And it was determined that that type of activity was not permitted in that area under the SUP. So they were advised that it might qualify as a retail business, not otherwise specified. So the board has been waiting for a site plan, a noise study, and a traffic study from the applicants. And as yet, we haven't received those from them. So that matter has been on the next week, September meeting. The matter of Michael Casal's application for a two-lot minor subdivision on 92 Macho Lane. The applicant did not appear at this meeting. We haven't heard from him in a couple of months. We haven't had any success trying to contact the Army Corps of Engineers to determine the status of that property over there. So again, that's something we want to revisit September meeting. The Rensselaer Plateau Alliance has applied for an SUP extension for the Postonville Community Forest. There's a matter of a bridge that was constructed over a stream on that property that may not have been in compliance with DEC. So the applicant is contacting DC to find out what the status of that bridge that was built over that stream. So again, there's another SUP application that's adjourned until next month. The Shoe Hart PDD, Mr. Steve Hart, their engineer, conducted a presentation before the planning board, just kind of bring us up to speed on the revised design. As yet, we don't have updated documentation for that project, but the applicant has agreed to send us that revised documentation as soon as possible. Mr. Hart is planning to meet with a DEC rep to review the status of some of the wetlands on that project. And the planning board had asked that the planning board representative be invited to that review meeting. So both Mr. Hart and the applicant have agreed to that. So the planning board rep will be attending that review. And the last item is the comprehensive plan. Jeff Briggs has been heading up that project for the last couple of years. And to date, the 9 descriptive sections have been completed. And that project is sort of languishing, partly due to the inavailability of certain data during the COVID lockdown period. So Jeff is recommending at this point that the town hire a consultant to get involved in that project, to breathe some life back into it.
The county hasn't been, Linda Hayden hasn't been able to help with that?
Linda has helped to some extent. She helped us during the descriptive, doing the descriptive stuff. And she tried to steer us onto some agencies that would have the data we were looking for. A lot of these agencies have reduced their staff. They're very hard to contact. Just to advise you that project needs a little pressure over you. So.
Okay. Thank you. Do you guys want to close out the public hearing now? Please, move on. And then we'll get back to the liaison reports. I'm going to close the public hearing now.
Last call. Both public hearings are open on the proposed junkyard permit and introductory local law number 2. We'll make the last call if there's anyone who wants to provide any comment.
Anybody? Okay, I'll call the public hearing closed. Any discussion from the board? I think the next step here is just to make a motion to approve the date that Betsy has asked for the change for the assessment. What's the date that she requested, Sue?
Well, you're right. What the local law will do, is it the 3rd Tuesday in May? Whatever it is, it's the state statutory grievance day applicable to every municipality that would reestablish the date in the town of Poston.
That was the date that it always was. It was changed because our previous assessor had a conflict at that date, and he worked for another town, and he's no longer working here, so we're going to go back to what it was originally, what is standard actually. So that's what that was about. The junkyard permit is because the previous owner passed away, and he wanted to pass it on to his daughter, but the way our code reads, it's not transferable without application. So that's why we had to have the public hearing. The zoning board already met and gave a positive referral on this. So I guess it's up to the board to decide whether they want to grant junkyard permit or not.
Keith, I just want to give the same comment I gave originally, whatever it's worth, and I have no bias in this. But for 6 years, I inspected Mr. Arnold's junkyard. It was always, and never had one problem there. It was always neat, professional, and so on. So I give you that for some,
And I'll just note under the town's local law, when considering the application, you take into account the suitability of the applicant with reference to the ability to comply with requirements. You just heard from Bob on that. There is a history of compliance. And any record of convictions for any type of larceny or receiving of stolen goods, the record certainly doesn't include any evidence to that, but that's generally your, and any other matter within the purposes of this chapter, kind of a catch-all provision. So those are your review standards in determining whether to grant a license.
Well, I'll entertain a motion for the change of date for our assessment review first.
This would actually be there is a resolution I did prepare to formally adopt the local law. The local law will set the date.
All right, I'm gonna have that.
It came in late. I apologize for
It's
that. I
there.
thought I had
Put it
sent
on.
it.
Yeah, I made copies and right there. Underneath there, Keith.
There you go. So what the resolution does is identify that the introductory local law was introduced at your last meeting, generally describes what it is, that you properly noticed and it held a public hearing. This does constitute a type 2 action under seeker. It's been in its final form in front of you for the required period of time under state law. And you've given it due consideration. And the resolution will then be offered to adopt the introductory local law as local law number 2 for 2022. And then so to file it with the RMC.
Well, everyone has the law now? There's a motion,
I'll make a motion that we adopt it.
have a second?
Local law number 2.
Well, we have a
Right, so
The
we'll just-
resolution will be 18.
trigger.
and it would be introduced and then second.
Have a second?
Jim.
Do you want to do a roll call?
Councilwoman Butler? Yes. Councilman Van Slyke?
Yes.
Supervisor Hand?
Yes. Thank you. That brings us to I don't have this one.
So if this is moving toward the junkyard
Yes.
license, this would be a motion to approve the application for the license, and then I circulate a proposed license form just to sign, and that be filed with in the building department. I think that's where it is, or is it the town clerk?
Please touch the sewer.
Okay, filed with the town clerk.
I'll entertain a motion.
Yes, I got that in, did I send that to you in Word? I think I did. I circulated it for any comments, so you have it in Word to use it as the form. You just will fill in the appropriate name and date. And this will run under our local law. It is an April to April, 1-year date for renewal. So if the action tonight is to grant the license, it will be good until April 1 of 23. Then it'll just need to be annually renewed. And that's just coordinated with Tracy and the town clerk.
Okay, I'm not confused.
Well, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the junk. Yeah,
You're approving the license.
Right.
license.
Approving the license.
Right.
The junkyard is self-explanatory, and the ability to operate it is.
Oh.
Go ahead, sir.
Councilwoman Butler? Yes. Councilman Van Slyke?
Yes.
Supervisor Hand?
Yes. Not sign that? I can come in tomorrow.
Why don't you do that, because it'll be completed. You'll sign it, and Sue signs it, and then they'll send you your written signed license document.
I know he's talking,
Well,
it's me.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm like, overnight. Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong person,
I'm
right?
like, I don't even know.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's right.
Gosh,
I keep-
Sorry.
Okay, I'm looking at you too.
I should have corrected. I'll look
Okay,
into it. So
great.
everything I said is correct. You'll be getting a written signed license.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm set?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you?
You guys have a good night. You guys have a good night.
Me too. All right, back to our liaison, zoning board.
I don't know anymore.
Are we all set then with like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can think of it.
And then we can go back to wherever fire company.
Zoning board. Is anyone here from the zoning board? Well, we have their written report. Fire company,
Goals for the month of July, we had 22 EMS, 13 fire, 0 did not respond, for a total of 35 calls for the month. Calls to date, 189 with 1 missed call.
thank you. Library,
And
Harold.
wait, the fire company has their car show this week. Right? Isn't that this
Yes.
weekend?
Sunday.
Hopefully weather's good. Anyone here from the library? All right.
Sir. It's been a busy month, it's gonna continue to be a busy month. Our library director has kept things hopping pretty good. Every Wednesday at 3:30, we have what we call Team Beach, which we're giving the teams in the town a place to congregate, play games, do whatever they want, safely, hopefully safely. Every Friday, we continue to have our story time at 10:15 for preschoolers. The individual days, Monday, the 15th, we'll have bubbles and sensory play for preschoolers. We still have a bubble machine there for the kids to play with, and also I guess a couple boxes with different things in there for the kids to feel and see what they feel like. Wednesday, the 17th, Paint the Sound. This is an internet situation. You have to go on our website and find the link and sign up for it. Thursday, the 18th, shark tooth art. We have a whole bunch of shark teeth and we go in and make pictures with it. This again is for school age kids. Saturday the 20th, we have outdoor yoga. We've been having that, I guess, once a month the past couple months. That's with Terry Vettigan. Monday the 22nd is our board meeting at 7:30. If anybody wants to attend, it's open. Wednesday the 24th, horseshoe crabs. We're gonna have moltings from the horseshoes plus videos about the horseshoe crabs. So that sounds interesting to me. Thursday the 25th, ocean paint pour. This will be outside, weather permitting. Going to have pouring paint on the canvas and trying to move the canvas around to make pictures. I've seen some of them on the internet. If you get good at it, it's really kind of neat. Saturday 27th is Tinker Garden. This again is for preschool up to age 8. It's outdoor play games with Heather Silverman. Monday the 29th, Monday Reader, that's our book club for anybody who wants to come discuss whatever books they may have read. Next month, the 2nd, we have Southpaw supposed to be coming to Storytime. So that's the mascot from Valley Cats. And Saturday 17th is our fall market day.
So dinner.
That's pretty much it.
While we're on the library, Harold, do you want to talk about the roof?
Yes. We have 5 quotes on it. And Tracy has helped me a lot to understand what's going on. And I'll just let Tracy explain it to you. Just a couple of real concerns that we have. One, the roof is really steep, and then it comes down to part that's not steep. And that section we think is something we have to give special consideration for. And the other one that's not mentioned is trees, which belong branches over it, which are going to have to be removed before the roofing can be done. But they're not branches, but trees are on the neighbor's property. So I haven't approached them yet. I don't have any problem doing it. They may be glad to, but it's another expenditure that is not covered under this.
So what's your recommendation we'll do, Harold?
So when you're saying there's steepness though in two different sections, are these quotes for like the whole
Yes,
roof? Okay.
but it didn't include doing something special in that area.
Do you think more is needed?
A little more is needed in that.
Tracy, do you want to jump in here?
Yeah, did you show them the picture? No.
You know, I don't have it with me.
So, it's right here. Right with this roof, up underneath this roof.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is now, the roof is, so they really should take part of this off, the roof deck or something, and get up under this with either modified rubber or
Fiberglass.
anything but nothing right there. Fiberglass,
Right.
the new stuff. So that's what they have to address. Nobody's addressed that yet.
It's been leaking,
So this roof is leaking flat.
but only in the winter, which makes me think it's the snow comes down, it sits there, it gets beat up.
Well-
And then it follows back.
If I may, when we have a driving snow, rainstorm, sometimes it leaks, sometimes it doesn't.
It's
But
because of
there's,
that.
But it's coming from that section somewhere.
but there's a,
Because the two valleys are coming together.
there's a
And everything is funneled right into that one area. You go up in the roof to see all the stone is off the shingles. So they're worn really bad.
There is a pan in the library on the windowsill that collected the leak in, and there's a note in the pan, please do not remove this little pan. And the last time it was leaked was in January, so I suspect it has something, whatever,
I'm
that,
sure it
that
doesn't
area,
help it, yeah.
that area has to be looked at a little bit more. Now, we also, I think, have two choices. Do we want to go with shingle or do we want to go with metal? And not everybody, and that's pretty much, I would prefer the metal, but it's $52,000. Help me out here, Tracy, but it's the raised metal that's crimped, that's put on. But the shingles, I would stick with the same provider, and that's 24,000.
What, the shingles that they're proposing to use, what's, 30-year shingles, 15-year shingles, lifetime shingles?
Architectural 30-year shingles. And the reason why,
So they're transitioning from asphalt now to fiberglass type shingle, it's lighter. And from what they're telling us, the warranty isn't as sound as it would have been if they didn't get rid of the asphalt part. So they're not using asphalt as much.
Well, I would love to spend $52,000, but that seems kind of steep.
me too, but when you look
So-
at this
I would
probably
prefer
is
to go
one,
with the, is this this $24,000 one, is that the one you're talking
and I
about?
like that one best because I have the copies of it, anybody wants to see it. The details of his proposal are really good. You don't have to really think about much. And he has a lifetime workmanship. Other words are like a number of years, 5 years, 6 years, and they charge for extra pieces of plywood.
What do you think, Jim?
No, I learned more about roofing when I kid. But the GAF, this Timberline HDZ, the high definition architectural shingles, are supposed to be like a better shingle. You're supposed to get a longer life period. They are more expensive, so I'm assuming that that's why that came in at 24,000 instead of the 18 for the asphalt.
Right.
I'm thinking, right? Versus McAvoy, their Certainty, supposedly a good shingle, but the GAF is better. The other gentleman also said a GAF lifetime shingles, but again, like Harold said, that was only the 5-year guarantee, so.
We have a lifetime guarantee on the workmanship as opposed to 5 years. And with that problem over there, I think it'd be nice to have a lifetime guarantee.
All right, well, here's what I'd like you to do, Harold. Make a motion, and I'll second it, and we'll move this forward, because this is honestly the third month we've had it on our agenda.
Okay, I would propose, make a motion that we go with a capital waterproofing. And
Can I ask a question now, Tracy, though? If this was the issue, how come this isn't included in that then, for what he's bidding, and do we need to find out what more that's gonna
I
cost?
could
before
answer
we
that
can-
probably better because I didn't realize what the issue was. And it's only the last couple of days I've been looking, and Tracy's. So I didn't realize that was a real source of the issue to put before these people. And nobody mentioned it.
So do we have to go back to capital first to ask them about addressing that issue? to
I
get
don't
the
think it'll
final
be,
price?
I will, but I don't think it'll be much because we do have to tell them what we want. And Tracy will help me out with that.
Well, go ahead, we have your motion, and I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
I'd like to make it clear that this man who's doing this, the person who's doing this is also was at one time a resident of Parsonsville, I believe.
I'm actually familiar with it, so I've been able to do some work in Sand Lake, so.
Let me ask exactly what did you approve?
To put a new roof on your building,
With what?
shingles.
Okay.
Sorry, you didn't get.
You wanna,
Now,
did you see this?
I did not see all of the.
You can look at it, here, you can have it.
Okay, I'll grab it. Got the meeting.
All right, youth advisory,
Monday after summer camp. It's been a busy 24 days, one day left. Changes will be made about ages for next year for camp stuff, so we can figure out how to accept the kids that need the childcare and aren't able to stay home, because we're definitely at max capacity.
I honestly believe that the 13-year-old is gonna have to be cut out. It's just so much work, that age group is, they're,
Teenagers.
yes, and they're a lot more work than the others, and they seem to be taking up way too much of the counselor's energy and time that would be better spent with some of the younger kids. So I think next year we'll have the cutoff date at 12. And I'm sure we're still gonna max out at over 200. Thank you, Tiffany, for all your work. I would like to apologize for not having the town hall staffed fully during that time. I actually thought we could do it, but I was mistaken. And next year I will be making some changes. I've learned from this year. So I apologize to Sue. I'll do better next year. CAC?
No CAC activity.
Okay, well, we did the junkyard licensing. We have an RFP for the website here. Does anybody want to discuss that?
Just, I can email there, just write some words that need to be changed, but, there's a part two that we still left on page 3. We will research, review user-friendly, blah, 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 be able to take secure online payments. We decided we weren't going to do that, right? So that needs to be.
Okay. You got that down, Tiffany? Okay. Noise ordinance, we don't have anything for that. Eric wanted that to be pushed back to next month. We have a health insurance for Arthur Whitney. I'd like to go into executive session to talk about that, and we may be coming out of executive session and taking action on that particular item. But I really think we need to talk about it in executive session first before we do anything. We have a bill, an invoice here for hydro seeding for the Lockview development. I don't know if you called a bond, but we took a check from the builder to make sure that it got done. He didn't do it, so Tracy went along and hired somebody with that money to do it. It's been completed, so now we have to pay the bill of $4,000.
But why are we on the hook for this?
We're not.
Why doesn't it go
We're
back
not.
to?
It doesn't cost us
So we
anything.
have the contractor escrow a check for us?
So how this worked was, we did have an agreement
Yeah.
with the contractor, the builder, that allowed a CO to be issued, so the lot could close. Still needed to do some stormwater work in the spring. We had a date by which it needed to be done. To secure that promise, money was filed by the builder, developer with the town. And the agreement, the escrow agreement said if you fail to get that completed by a date certain, the town would use that money in escrow from the builder to have it completed. And that's what occurred. So this is not town funds, they're using the private
escrow.
funds from
Okay.
the escrow.
All right, that was not clear.
We had a hunch.
Is this like the same lot that was so steep that there was the water issue and all that?
The problem came about that he wanted to sell, and the people that wanted to buy it were being, they had no place to live until they got into this house. So we tried to expedite this, but Tracy had a hunch that maybe this particular builder wasn't going to follow through on his promises, and so that's why we had to.
Then the owner would have been responsible, but we didn't want to stick them with it. It's a DEC thing, it's not a town.
Thank you for all your effort on that, Tracy, but we still need to pay the bill. Do I have a motion there?
Yes. Motion to, use the escrow funds on file to pay this.
Just $4,000.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to pay the.
I'll second.
All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Tracy, for all your work on that one. We have full environmental assessment review as our last one, but we're all set in that, right?
All done, that was done in front.
That brings us to our assessors report. It was a busy month, a month. Not a lot of money, but busy. Brings us to our town attorney, do you have any?
Well, aside from routine matters, there was some work done on coordinating with the new planning board and zoning board attorney on the junkyard license application. Happy to see that that went well. Or the way coordinated with the building department with Tracy on what you just acted on with Lockview. I did meet with Ron Burge's office to go through the EAF for Water District 2 and the procedure.
Thank you. We have our assessors report. Bob?
Nothing but good things I want to highlight very briefly, but prior to that, I want to make a point. I believe very strongly that the success of an organization depends upon teamwork and cooperation. And I want to compliment DJ, because number of times he has helped the water district out. Most recently, he's putting his fellows out with Harold's input to help us flush some of the hydrants. I don't have the ability to do that right now because we've only got a person that works Saturdays and Sundays 4 hours each. So DJ is going to do that. That's a big help to us. So thank you for that teamwork. Appreciate it. The other items, once again, these are all very positive. All things in the water district are going quite well, actually. One thing I'm very proud of, and we can be very proud of, you may recall, I know you do, Keith, when we took over the posting bill from landfill, from Great Bryant in the end of 21. We were obligated by a consent decree in 2009. And that consent decree required for our residents that were being tested, twice a year testing, and for the landfill, twice a year testing, and for our residents, every year testing. And that was the money that was being paid at Adirondack. Well, we've been working 6 months with Ross McCleary and his organization, and they finally wrote back to us and said, yes, we're buying a new schedule. So the new schedule is going to save us about $5,000 a year. Right now, for example, where all the landfill was twice a year, now it's an annual test. That cuts it in half. The residents that were involved they were annual. Now they're gonna do them every 2 years, and one other every 4 years. So it's gonna save us quite a bit of money, and we're in good shape for it. That's a win. If you can get the DEC to change a consent decree, you've accomplished something we have. Secondly, THM, that's behind us. You know that was not caused by us, but because of the system, we were obligated to send out for a year letters, and people don't understand that. So that's behind us. The last reading that we took several weeks ago, we got the results, given them to the county, and we're in good shape. No more problems with that. The other thing that, I want to mention to you,
That CDM, did you say?
I'm sorry, THM, trihalomethanes.
Okay, that was put in by Troy, right?
The problem was THMs are, the limit is 80 parts per million. But it's not just, and you do it 4 times a year. It's not just the one reading. You have to average, they call it rolling average. You have to average the 4. And on September, I think it was September 21st of 21, we had noticed, I monitor every single day our THM readings at the pump station and here, or chlorine residual readings. Excess chlorine causes THMs, the byproduct. And I noticed that the readings were going down. So basically it works every morning about 6:15. Rob DeYoung is down at the pump station. I'm here taking our results and tell them what to do in terms of putting the chemicals in. Well, we noticed that our chlorine residual reading was going down. So what we did was to boost ours up so we were protected. But I called Bill Bradley and he said, I didn't know anything about this. So he checked on it, called me back. He said, Troy, for whatever reason, this is what he said to me, Troy was not giving him any chlorine residual. So what he said to me at that time, and then he followed up in writing, he said, because I said to him, I said, Bill, I said, this is serious. Now I'm keeping our true people out of trouble, but if you don't fix this by the end of the day, I'm going to the county. He said, I've already talked to Rich Elder about it. Okay. He wrote me and said, look, he said, I put more chlorine in today than I ever did in my whole career. Well, the chlorine, now we get back to the THM reading. My normal THM readings are about 40 to 60, with an 80 as a limit. That one day happened to be the next day that we were doing our testing, okay? 138. So that 138 took our readings and blew it out of the water over the 80. That's why we had to put those letters out. So, long-winded answer. If anybody has a question on it, let me know. We had the same thing back in 2012. Those of you that were here may remember that. We had meetings with the state and everybody else. It was decided we were not going to do any treatment for THM. It's very expensive. I mean, you're talking $250,000 for what? In the letter that we put out to our residents, approved by the state, it says your water is safe to drink, to put this in perspective. So we're okay with THM. Any other question on that? Okay. We do, as you know, we set up a procedure a number of years ago, filling pools. We pay approximately $5 a 1,000 gallons. We charge $20. That's in our town book. So we make about $15 per 1,000 gallons. We've been doing that for the drilling that was done over at the school recently. There are 5 different locations. We've provided the water for that. They pay us for that. We also provide, I got Dave's approval, a pool company that serves a number of towns around wanted to buy water from us. Dave was agreeable to him pulling in next to the firehouse there, and his unit pool takes 7,500 gallons of water per filler. So that bill from them to the town is $150. Of the $150, the town is making $110, goes into our bottom line. So that and the geothermal, just other ways. You see in the budget, we have unmetered sales in our revenues, and we have $500 in this year. We're going to be a lot better than that. Just another way of providing a service at the same time making some money for the town. The DEC, any question on any of that? The DEC drilling over at the school, there are 5 locations: Mohawk, Ford Road, and 351, Liberty and Weatherwax. and Route 60, Section 351, and the school parking lot. Those have all been completed last year. If you ride past, for example, Liberty and Weatherwax, there's a picture of it, picture of somebody inside. You'll see a pipe shooting about 3 foot off the ground. That's gonna be there for a while they perform their testing. Now, they're doing the chemical analysis of that testing now. Depending upon how that comes, they may do more the DEC being they may do more testing. We won't know about that, but moving along well. Other than that, everything.
I'm worried about the well they have on Liberty Lane. I'm worried about plow it.
They're gonna make it a flush, not forward. That was the plan all along.
I thought you were looking at that.
Yeah, no. Stick
I skipped over the town clerk's report.
During the month of July, the town clerk took in $16,062.09. Of that amount, $15,862.89 was turned over to the supervisor.
I make a motion to accept the report.
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you, Sue. Dog control, you have your report. That brings us to TJ.
The only thing I wanted to add was we came in under budget for 56 Road, so we had some money left over in highway for paving. So that 126,000 you guys approved last month for the rescue, we're only gonna need about 98,000 of that. So we won't be tapping into all of that you guys approved.
That's good news. Thank you.
Great news.
Tracy?
I would put in, nothing yet.
All right. We don't have any budget transfers, I know. This is the payment of the bills, Sue, do you?
You can make a motion?
Well, I need a motion.
I need a motion.
I make a motion that we need the general fund and the highway in the amount of $108,345.55.
I'll second it. All in favor?
We pay the water bills in the amount of $18,265.62.
I'll second it.
All in favor? All right, all opposed? Thank you. We still have a public comment period. Does anybody like to make a public comment? Yeah.
One question, I mean, Ed Russell, I live in Deer Creek Road. Is this new water district include Deer Creek Road?
No.
I have a lot of disappointed people.
Well, if they want to be included in it, someone in that development should probably circulate a petition. That's going to be included in it.
What are they gonna do?
Well, I haven't seen it.
No, I'll see what I can get done.
Originally tonight, we were supposed to have the attorney for our insurance for the Hitchcock lawsuit. Somebody called me, and said he wasn't gonna be able to make it, and that he would have all the information that he has it ready for us by the 8th. So I'm sorry that he's not gonna be here tonight, so it drags on. And that concludes our meeting tonight. We have an executive session. We may be coming back and out and taking action, but that concludes our meeting. Thank you everyone for coming out.
Motion to go into executive.
Yep.
I really need it's going to be capital rates.
Yep. You want to copy that?
I have no idea where to start.
Yes, well, contact the developer about Blue's I think we can probably get into it as well.
Yeah, we can add the trees.
I'm sure we'll cut this one.
Okay.
All right, well, so when we get a hold of it, a couple of days. Yeah. Thank you.
I didn't wanna maybe spend extra. Yeah, that's.
You should see, entertain a
The
reason
reason
to
why
executive
it's
session.
apart is because they left it alone, and they thought they was gonna leave the rebate.
I'll
So they
second.
set the-
Thank you, Carl.
So they came back.
All in favor? Aye.
Opposed? Great. That's why I'm calling.
Just so you know, if you
No,
know
it's
about
fine.
it, that's-
You guys are all right with the pumping water out of pipe.
Your water is not ours.
Okay.
As long as when we need it, they're not there, that's fine.
Yeah, I think you can push them out of the way.
All right, Art Whitney with
Oh boy, about the whole public know.
Good call.
Mark's probably not watching though.